The Mighty Whites podcast is recorded at the Don Bennison Recording Studio in Allerton Bywater. For more information, visit donbennison.com or email info@donbennison.com.
Hi and welcome to episode 4 of the Mighty Whites podcast. I'm an incredibly sleep-deprived Jack Robshaw. I'm joined by Connie.
Hiya.
And in Portland, KC.
Now then.
Yeah, we'll go straight in because we're going to get through this as quickly as we can because obviously Leeds have got a game tomorrow night and we need to get this out before then. So, good start to the season. First game away at Bolton. We all predicted a win. We got the win. Overall, what did you think of the game, Con?
Yeah, they made hard work of it a little bit towards end. Typical Leeds way, kept us hanging on a little bit towards end, but first game away from home, a win's a win. Just good start for us. Good to see, some new signings linking up well as well, getting in there, and Wood getting off at mark as well. So yeah, good overall. It doesn't matter start of the season, just get a win on, just get 3 points on board.
You could see us struggling with a couple of defensive injuries, especially when you see Pennington and Berardi going off, and you start thinking, oh, here we go, Shaughnessy's coming on. Looks like he's never defended a corner in his life before, but no, we held out for the most part and finished him off, and Calvin Phillips showed what he can do when he's at his best, and that's what I love to see Calvin Phillips doing.
I think the thing with Shaughnessy, when he did what he did for a penalty, it was the fact that he argued after it. And Gary Medine, whose shirt he bagged off. I think Medine played game a little bit, but, when he's having to pull the shirt back literally over his head, there's no argument to be had. We got what we asked for, really. And, yeah, I think both goals, obviously the penalty was his own doing, but I think the first goal as well, I think that was his own doing. Weidveld, brilliant. But it's early days, but win's a win at the end of the day.
Yeah, Weidveld did a thing that seems to be a bit of a disease among goalkeepers at the minute. Because obviously there was him, the defender that's marking the man on him, and then the player. And he grabbed the defender that's in front of him and pins himself there. Green did it start of last season, Silvestri's do it all the time. Is it David Priest, the guy who used to be in goal for Hull? Is his name David? Something Priest, but he's on Twitter and he was a goalkeeper and he's been banging on about it for 6 months.
Right.
How all of these keepers keep pinning themselves. It's not strikers doing it.
No.
They're just not coming out for balls properly, and Weidveld did exactly that.
I mean, to me, last one we had who properly came out and commanded his area. You could say Neil Sullivan when we had him for a couple of years, but before then it was Nigel Martin. When he came flying out for the corner, it didn't matter who was in front of him. He took out everyone in front of him. That's what they need to be doing now. If you're going to come. If not, stay on your line, because he got caught in no man's land, did Weidveld, and you could just see it coming. From the minute that ball came into the box, you could just see what was going to happen.
Well, we were worried about set pieces from pre-season, weren't we? Because that's where a lot of goals came from that we conceded. But
one issue I had as well was I think it was Kemar Roof that was doing the marking at the corner, and I've said to you before, I don't understand why we have all 11 players back, and I look at Kemar Roof and just think, why is he marking someone in the penalty area? Either stick him on a post or leave him upfield to chase something when he gets cleared. For the life of me, I cannot figure out why teams have got into this mentality of defending a corner, get 11 men back, and just clear it and then just give the ball straight back. At least with someone like Roof, he's got a bit of pace where if you clear it, he might be able to win it and start something. But why he's marking someone at the edge of the 6-yard box, I'll never know.
I think thing with it is, even if you have Wood back there, I can get behind that. It's a big lad, he'll plonk his head on it. Fair enough, but it's like, say, you want someone up there where if it does break to edge area or beyond, chasing that second ball, if one of our lads gets their head to it, you want someone with a bit of pace who can break a Kemar Roof, Alioski, whoever it may be. It's like, say, I'm with you on that one. You don't need to have everyone back in there. It was a bit of a weird one for me, definitely.
Yeah, well, obviously we've been typical Leeds fans there and banged on about all the negatives at the start. But going forward, there was a lot of really positive signs, especially compared to last season. I know Phillips got the 2 goals, which is great, but it was more the overall thing of a central midfielder actually getting forward to help out up front. Because last season that didn't happen at all.
No, I think
you had your 3 behind, get up there, but the 2 deeper players just stayed deep and there was nothing from them.
I think that what thing with your Liam Bridcuts, your Vieiras, your O'Kanes even, they are what they are, they're more defensive minded, which isn't a problem, but we need that balance in there. And in Bolton game especially, Phillips gave us that. And, you know, Chris Wood's been crying out for a bit of help, you know, as well. We said this in, you know, podcasts in past. He needs as much help as he can get, and if central midfielders are going to chip in like he is, fair play to him, yeah.
There's no reason why someone like Calvin Phillips shouldn't be getting 6-7 goals a season breaking from midfield. If you can put in performances like that, it's what we need. Like, you know, we need those box-to-box midfielders, and that's what he seems to be at the moment. I was so impressed with him against Bolton. He was all action, covering every blade of grass and putting himself about, getting stuck in, and he was causing a problem for the defence as well. And it'll be interesting to see if we have that from any of the other centre mids, like you say, or at least with OK and Bridcut and Vieira. They are a bit more defensive minded than that, whereas it's quite nice if we have that defensive midfield anchor that we can maybe just release Phillips a bit more and just let him go about it. Hopefully he can do that and get us a few goals this season, because we need that from deeper.
Yeah, well, you say 6 or 7 now. He came out after the game and said he set himself a target of 10 for the season.
Good.
Which would be pretty good going. To be honest, the other thing is with Vieira, I think that'll come with him. I think he's got the ability to get forward. At the minute, he don't really use it as much.
I think what held him back last season as well, especially, he was playing with either Bridcut or O'Kane. And he's, 18, 19 years old, is it? He's going to be influenced a lot by his senior partner, be it O'Kane or Bridcut. And obviously Bridcut being the captain last season, you know, obviously he carries a lot of clout in the team, which is fair enough. But it's like you say, over time, you'd like to think, you know, he's got the engine. We all know he's got the engine to be able to go box to box and provide a bit of support both at back and up front as well. And I think if we get that balance right, whoever it is up front, even if it's not Chris Wood, whoever it is, they're going to benefit from it. Even like, say, Size and Andes, Alioski, Roof, whoever, they're all going to benefit from having that little bit of extra support, even if it's just backing them up on the edge of area, anything like that. It's an extra outlet for them, and yeah, it's nice to see.
Yeah, well, obviously, first half were really good. Second half was a bit dodgy. I said on Twitter that I'm kind of willing to let the second half slide, because we've only got five or six defenders in the club, and by the halfway through the second half, 3 of them were missing.
Yeah.
Casey briefly mentioned the injuries, but Berardi dislocated shoulder. They haven't yet said how long, but you would think a minimum of 4 weeks from the injury, so minimum 3 weeks now, and it might be longer, because dislocated shoulders can be out from a couple of weeks to 6 months if you've knackered everything.
Oh, yeah.
I doubt it's the latter, because we'd have heard.
I think in all way he went off and everything, obviously he was injured, but he wasn't screaming in agony. Obviously he was in a lot of pain, but
Gaetano Berardi wouldn't scream in agony if you stabbed him in the face 16 times.
he'd kick off with you though.
It would. He'd just pull the blade out, turn it around, and nut you with the knife.
But can we hold it against Chris Wood for injuring Berardi? Because it was him. He came down on him.
Wait and see if he's still here at the end of August. If he's gone, yeah, we'll blame Chris Wood.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about that more later. But I've felt really sorry for Pennington having to go off with this ankle injury. He's another one where we don't yet know how long. I cringed a bit when I saw it, because I've got a history of ankle injuries. But it looked to me like it was strained rather than snapped.
He was another one where he went off. I'd suggest, obviously, he's done some damage, but I think it's the best case scenario as far as it can go. He won't, he wants screaming out in agony. It just looked more uncomfortable than all else. So fingers crossed they'll both be back sooner rather than later. But yeah, with Pennington up until that point, we've said it, in a few games we've seen of him, he looks a solid enough player. So sooner he gets back, the better. And it looks best it can look. with him. We've got that to clinch.
To be honest, I'd be a bit more effusive in my praise than that. I thought before he went off that it was really good in this game. I thought it was a lot better than he got credit for from a few places.
I think he just did the basics right. He kept it simple, like centre half should. Kept it simple. No silly balls back. No stupid suicidal sideways balls. Just kept it simple, and that's all you want really from a centre half.
Yeah, he came out of defence with ball well as well.
Yeah, he did carry it well.
Yeah, he came out and played a few good balls, and he was involved in the goal. He was one that got the ball out wide, wasn't he, for the Wood goal? It was
But he's doing the job that Bridcut would essentially have done last season of just picking the ball up off the centre back and then playing that pass. Which, if you're Liam Bridcut, you've got to look at someone like that who can. All right, it's not the toughest job in the world, but if you've got someone like Pennington who isn't afraid to take a few touches, get his head up, and then play those passes, that's half of Bridcut's job taken right there.
And if it's Pennington and Janssen, then I mean they're both more than capable with ball at the feet. Janssen sometimes tries a bit too much. We'll probably come on to that a bit more when we talk about Preston game. But no, overall, obviously we're delighted with win, but I was particularly pleased with Phillips. And just because we haven't mentioned it yet, I better say, I thought Pablo Hernandez was brilliant in this game as well.
It went against everything we said, didn't it? Don't play Pablo Hernandez away from home, but yeah, it was quality. He was unlucky, when he hit bar. It was a right effort with that, but yeah, it was a game we were all expecting to win, I think, if we're all honest. And I've got no issues with him playing, provided it's like that. It's games when you think you're going to be up against it and you're going to be battling. I've said in past, that's when I've probably got an issue with him starting away from home especially. But yeah, he was spot on against Bolton, linked up well. He was unlucky with his chance. So yeah, it's good competition, of him and Samuel Size, who we'll probably come to later anyway, no doubt, when we come to Port Vale.
Yeah, he was great, was Hernandez in this game. I mean, he set up the first goal for Phillips, and that was all on him. If you watch him beforehand, you see him really clearly signal holding ball up and then drop it in a certain way and then do two hands again. They've obviously worked on that signal.
I think there were a few things.
He was the one that spotted it. It was all on.
I think there were a few things that they worked on. This first goal, that were clearly from training ground, the short corner. But I know me and you spoke about this a little bit when we were watching it. It's all well and good doing it, but we did seem to do it a little bit too much as well. We seem to have been doing this with corners as well. There's a lot of short corners coming in for me, which I don't mind every now and then, but it's easily sussed out, I think.
Yeah, I think against Bolton
back
we
to the
only
Neil
put...
Kilkenny era.
Yeah, he did. He used to do it every time, didn't he?
And then it always end up back at Casper Ankergren.
Yeah, 2 touches, back with goalie.
Yeah. But no, so we'll move on to the midweek cup game against Port Vale. Well, we joked about does he have any chance of being anywhere near as good as Twitter has built him up to be? And if we were trying to manage everyone's expectations, he hasn't helped us.
No.
With his debut, Samu Size with a hat trick on his debut. First debut hat trick since Carl Schutt, I think it was, in 1989. I read somewhere on Twitter, which was pretty good going. And his first hat trick at all since McCormack against Huddersfield.
Jesus. Which
is one that really makes me laugh because they spent the whole game singing Ross McCormack, he don't want to play, and then he scored a hat trick. He'd have scored 6 if he'd have wanted to. But no, it was a weird game, this. I thought first 15 minutes we were good, then we completely went to sleep, just stopped playing, realised, we should batter these, we'll just stop playing. And then Michael Tong pops up with I'd say rolls back the years, but rolls back a lot of years because it's to before he played for us.
Yeah, he couldn't win when he were with us, could he? But yeah, fair enough.
But then in second half, again, it was a bit quiet for 10 minutes, but bringing on Alioski for Sacco, who we won't go into it too much because there's no point going on about it, but Sacco was fucking awful.
Yep, again.
And he was awful when he came on against Bolton as well. It was dreadful. I know that a lot of people just don't like him full stop. He's better than he showed in those 2 games. He was abysmal. And it was really good to see Ekuban get a goal. I thought he deserved it. He worked really hard.
I like Ekuban. I said it in last podcast. I'm looking forward to seeing a bit more of him. I like it. I like the idea of him. It seems a bit... having seen him play now, it seems like a stronger, better version of Dakara. Is everything I want Dakara to be. big, lumbering. He'll run at people. People bounce off him when he's a good old-fashioned centre-half to me. Centre forward, sorry.
That's because, by the way, Connie was a centre-half. He does that every now and then.
Yeah, he's a good old-fashioned centre-forward, should I say. He took his goal well, in all fairness, but it's like you said, Alioski just changed game, didn't he? He came on, one of his big hitters, and just, set 3 goals up in no time.
Yeah.
The thing that most impressed me was, I think it was Sayers' second goal, which it wowed me, the speed at which he just took it past the keeper. And I know you can kind of look into this as how it's only a League Two team, but the speed of his footwork when he took that goal. I went to watch the game with my girlfriend, who she's not been to too many games. We're trying to get her into it. Her logic of thinking is one player gives the ball away from a pass and he is hurting the team. He is a detriment to all of football. And then she saw someone like Sayers and she thought he was as good as Messi or anyone like that. She was so impressed with it. But
which he basically
the way in which
is.
Sayers took it to goal.
Oh,
yeah, he is. He is the championship Messi. But yeah, he, like you said, for all the hype he's got on Twitter, he hasn't helped with anything. He hasn't helped calm us down. And he did the Leeds salute after the game, so, good lad. Yeah,
we're good to see him do it salute. KC there bringing up his girlfriend because no one believes he has one. No, the other thing that I thought in this game that was really interesting, and I really didn't expect it, I thought when Liam Bridcut came on, he had a great game.
Both me and you said we were there watching it, weren't we? He looked like the Liam Bridcut who were there when he were on loan, when he first arrived a couple of years back now. He were quality. There were one instance in particular where me and you nearly stood up to applaud it. He flew into this tackle, and I forget who it were against now, but just crunched him, got the ball, and it broke loose, and he were up again, flying into it, blocking ball. It's just what you expect Liam Bridcut to do as an holding midfielder. Do nitty-gritty stuff, do what, a lot of people don't really want to do or, aren't willing to do. But, yeah, he impressed me. To me, I thought he may have been closer to the team for the Preston game. Not saying he should have started by any means, but I think there were a few players that gave Christiansen, food for thought, and it's good.
Oh, it's definitely good to have a bit of a deeper squad. In this game, we didn't mention in the first game that Cooper captained the side.
Yeah.
In this game, Ayling did, because Cooper didn't play.
Yeah.
But he gave the armband back to Bridcut when he came on, didn't he?
I think with Christiansen leaving it up to players, I think this could possibly be left until transfer window's done.
Yeah, I could see that happening. Which leads me to think that the choice might be Chris Wood.
Possibly. I was just going to say, is it going to be Wood? I hope it's not, because I think it could have It could have a similar detrimental effect as it would have if we gave it to Janssen. I think if you give him the responsibility of that, you take away from the player. Wood, if he's still here, I hope he is, come end of month, needs to be left to do what he does best, and that's put ball in back at net. He don't need the responsibility, and personally, I don't think strikers work as captains, to be honest. I think it should be a centre-half or a centre-mid, someone who's got a better view at game, who's more involved in it. It's just my opinion, but to me, I'd stick with what I've said. The players seem to like Cooper, which, if that's the case, you've got to go with players. That's fair enough. But, we mentioned that Ayling captained them against Port Vale, and I would over the moon to see Luke Ayling as captain. I think we all touched upon it in the last podcast, didn't we? And, yeah, but personally, I think it should be someone who's a little bit further downfield to be captain.
Yeah, I would be fine with Wood doing it. I mean, I'd rather Ayling. I've always said Ayling's my pick, but I'd rather Wood did it than Janssen.
Can we remember what the chain of command was last season?
Last season, it was Bridcut captain, Cooper vice.
Yeah.
And because Bridcut got given the responsibility when he came on, I'm assuming that hasn't changed.
Because Kyle Bartley wore it a lot last season as well.
I think that were more when Bridcut started to be in and out. I think Bartley kind of took it, but to be fair, last season, Bartley were, if we had him back for this season, he'd have been my number one choice above Luke Ayling.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We should mention now as well, Kyle Bartley signing a 4-year contract with Swansea, so I think that's pretty much put an end to that one.
Good for him. He's good enough to be at Swansea. More than good enough to be at Swansea. Based on last season, he should be in that first team for me.
It's so frustrating. Have you seen Swansea's fans on Twitter?
No.
They all fucking hate him. They all think he's shite.
Even after last season, granted it was in Championship, fair enough, but
like he came on in last game because they switched their formation up and he came on, and I think he mishit like one clearance from what I saw. But you just honestly, they think he's useless, which just frustrates me to no end. I keep hearing like Crowded House in my head, just hearing "Don't dream it's over."
But I think anyone who knows the football knows that Kyle Bartley's not a bad footballer. Fair enough, he had a couple of ropey loan spells out at Rangers and stuff like that when he was younger, but I think he showed last year what a class act he can be, especially in league below. And I think how well he performed last year gives him every right to have a chance back at an higher level. So good luck to him. I hope he does really well for him, and I'm glad he stayed at Swansea and not followed Snake to Middlesbrough. That's all I was bothered about.
I have actually had a thought as it goes. With him not disclosing the length of Berardi and Pennington's injury, do you think the reason they're not saying out is because it's going to be a couple of months and they don't want it to inflate the price on the centre-half that we're planning on signing between now and the end of the window? Possibly.
If you've got... I know we've been linked with Aidan Flint quite heavily, but as of, like to Birmingham and stuff, but if Bristol City know we're desperate, adds a couple of million onto the price tag, doesn't it? Yeah. So, could be that.
I'll be honest, I don't think it is going to be Flint. I think if we do sign someone now, I think we're signing a backup. I don't think we're signing someone who wants... I think that he is going in now thinking Pennington and Janssen is as two.
I'd be happy with that.
With Cooper behind. He was... it came up a bit since when that Red 6 agent was at Ellen Road. But they've got that Sonny Bradley on their books from Plymouth. And if he was... I wouldn't mind signing him to be backup. I know that it's a lower league one, but it wouldn't cost more than, say, like 750, 800 grand, probably.
Unless you... there's also another thing you could think of as well. Are they looking at likes of Oriel Ray, O'Connor? Are they looking at them and thinking... let's maybe have them on bench as backup. Let's have a look at them. Let's see. There is that option. I think that's less likely because I do think we need a more experienced one, be it for first team to challenge him or there as backup. But it's another option though that they could be looking at.
Yeah, like in this game, I thought Shaughnessy did fine. To be honest, but against this opposition, he should do.
Well, yeah, if you're playing for Leeds United and you can't do a job against Port Vale, it doesn't bode well for you. Even if you're a fringe player, first team player, no matter who you are.
Don't bode well for Hadi Sacco then.
Well, yeah. But the thing is with Hadi Sacco, we've spoke about it so many times, even before we even started with podcast. Is a lesser Max Gradle. He's got the capability to make something happen. He just doesn't do it enough. So there is always that there with Sacco, but yeah, based on Bolton and Port Vale, yeah.
I don't really want to spend long on it because I think it's utter bollocks. But we should mention Michael Brown accusing Size of quoting spitting in our player's face in the 40th minute.
I thought it all stemmed from second half when they were. I know me and you were in East Stand, so we were on the other side of the picture where it all happened. It were more or less on the halfway line near the dugouts, and I think it was Size that got kicked in air. One of many times it happened to him, but I thought it'd have all come from then. If at all, you'd have thought that'd have been the one when he said something.
He was very specific that it was in the first half in 40th minute, and me and a million people on Twitter. Because the game was on TV everywhere except the UK.
Yeah,
we went and watched the whole coverage back. They kind of collided a little bit, him and the defender, just as ball was being chased out. And it was right in front of where we were sat. We never saw it.
No.
But I've watched it back. They run into each other a bit, had a crossed word, and then jogged off. And Michael Brown, who said he was going apoplectic on the bench.
I didn't.
The camera was on him for 40 seconds of the next minute. Never said a word. He's full of shit. It's a classic Warnock tactic.
Yeah, it's just Michael Brown being a wanker.
Yeah. No, but that's a Warnock thing. We got beat. Let's say something that distracts from it.
Yeah.
It's Mourinho does it all the time.
Yep.
He's full of shit. I mean,
You say it stemmed from an incident earlier in the game. I think it stems from an incident of Michael Brown being stood in front of the Leeds fans, and they were chanting, "Number one is Michael Brown." I'm pretty sure that's what it all stems from.
I would love to give the guy credit, but I can't remember who it was. But I did see a fantastic tweet. It just said, I can't confirm whether Size spat on anyone, but I can confirm that he just shat on 11 Port Vale players." Which was a hell of a line.
When we're touching on ex-Leeds players there as well, shout out to Danny Pugh as well. He rocked up.
Yeah, he got a nice reception when he got subbed off as well, which was...
I think he should have done, to be honest. First spell he had with us before he got put on gardening leave, he was arguably his best player back when we'd first gone down. And I think second time he came back, different team, different time. We weren't spending a lot of money.
Pugh.
Yeah, well, yeah, apart from first game. Apart from first game.
Yeah. Header.
Yeah.
Against Portsmouth.
That was the day my niece was born.
Oh, lovely.
There you go. I was knackered. Danny Pugh scored.
You were knackered. Why were you? Were you delivering the fucking thing?
No, but for some reason my mum felt the need to come in and tell me that I had a niece.
Family.
Probably
I
because
it was like 3 a.m. She just felt the need to tell me this.
Probably because she's fairly sure you'll never have kids of your own. So.
It's a good chance. There's a good chance, and that's...
Yeah. Well, obviously, we all got prediction right for the first game, but none of us got the correct score. Same goes for this one. 2-0, 4-0 and 1-0, and it was 4-1. So far, we were all 4 points. Then a bit of a reality check on Saturday. Preston were at least as good as us until the red card. 0-0 draw. Not much of a game, really. We created a couple of decent chances after the red card, but we didn't. I don't think we did enough to win it.
You say reality check. You could look at it that way, but I think this is going to be a common theme for teams that come to Welland Road. They set themselves up in a way that we aren't going to lose. That's all they were bothered about. They had a couple of chances, especially in the end where they hit bar up post, whichever it was. But other than that, they didn't really pose that much threat. They were as good as us, like you're saying, tackle with the distribution and that. But for me, it's a game we should have won, that one. I think we did enough, to be honest. I think they just camped that many people in front of their, on edge of their area. It was just now impossible to get any room in there. To me, they seem to be passing around area simply because of the amount of bodies in there. I mean, fair play at Preston. They came with a game plan, it worked. They came away with for them, what's they're obviously viewing as a good point. So fair play to them. But I think that's going to happen a little bit this season at Elland Road, based on how good we were at home last year.
Possibly.
I do want to give a shout out to Alioski's fantastic piece of defensive work, picking the ball up, looking to turn 6 times, dribbling about 10 yards close to goal, then smashing it across the field straight to one of their players.
Oh God,
20 yards out.
It was a horrendous miss at that. Although to be fair to him, the entire time he was dribbling backwards, I was in the cop shouting, "Help him! Help him! Someone get into space! Someone!" And no one ever did. It was a terrible clearance, but there was other issues.
You could almost hear him going.
Sorry, I nearly made an in-joke then, but there's no point on a podcast. But come on, boys, we're better than this.
Just to give people a little bit of background to it, we won't go on about it for too long. Playing five-a-side one time, we were god-awful, conceded a piss-poor goal. Casey, at the top of his voice, I say at top of his voice, there were only dogs that could hear him at this point, really went off on one, properly sounded off on us all in the highest pitch voice I've ever heard a male come out with. Only for it to be greeted by me and Jack, who were both stood within 2 yards of each other, just going, ooh. Yeah, we've been taking piss out of him for that for years. But we
in this game, may as well get the cheap plug in. I've been doing the player ratings on Through It All Together.
Right.
The only people that got a 7 for me in this game were Ayling, Borthwick, Jackson and O'Kane. There were a lot of 6.5, 6s. I thought Roof was as poorest player in this game. Poor enough that I wouldn't be playing him on Tuesday night. I'd be playing Dallas left, Alioski right.
I do also think Alioski has had a bit of an experience now between the Bolton game and the Preston game. That has been his introduction to Championship football, that he isn't going to get as much time as he needs. And I think it's going to be something he needs to pick up on quickly just to add that extra bit of pace to his game. I mean, you saw when he came on against Port Vale what he is capable of doing and changing a game like that. It's just a case now of when you were playing these teams that he in the Championship we need to be getting him up to speed sooner. But outside of that, I do think over the 2 games he was fine, nothing spectacular, but like you say as well, Roof bit hit and miss again. We had that a bit last season. I'm a big fan of Roof, but it does seem like it would be a good time to bring Dallas in and give him a chance and try and make that place his.
Everything that Jack said, everything that you've just said, I agree with. With Luke Ayling, you're going to get at least a 7 every game. He's solid, he's dependable. I've said in past, he reminds me so much of your Gary Kellys and your Danny Mills. He reminds me so much of them. He just is solid. He's going to do a job.
That really should be his song, shouldn't it?
What's that?
Luke Ayling is fucking brilliant.
I don't think we could take it away from Danny Mills, to be honest. As much as I like Luke Ayling, I fucking love Danny Mills. But you're always going to get a solid performance from Luke Ayling. O'Kane, based on he seems to be coming back to the player we all know he can be at this level. Roof, I know I've tipped him for to have a good season, but it seems, based on that Preston game, he seems to have some of the frailties that he had last season. He's a good player, and I'm like KC. I'm a big fan of him, really like him, and I think with time he will come good, but he needs to, lose that bit. I don't know if it's doubt in his own mind or a bit of fear. I don't. Whatever it is. He just needs to lose it sooner rather than later, because he is good enough. That's the annoying thing with him. He is good enough to be at this level, but he just needs to show it on a more consistent basis, as does Stuart Dallas. So, I think that's a place that's well and truly up for grabs. It'd be just nice to see one of them put the mark on it and make it their own.
Yeah, I think they'll be competing for the left side slot. There'll be a few competing for the left side. The one thing that I can say in those 3 games, Alioski is twice the player on the right than he is on the left. Yeah,
definitely. 100%, yeah.
I don't know why he's insisted on starting him on the left. I mean, I know against Preston they switched pretty quick.
Yeah.
But there's no way that he should be on the left instead of the right.
It's one of them. I'm assuming he played up right all the time for Lugano.
I'm
assuming so.
He played left back for years and got switched to a right.
And that's
forward.
when he started knocking goals in and getting all these assists.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. you know.
Well, I mentioned that he was one of the only ones that I gave a 7 out of 10 to, so we'll talk a bit more about signing Cameron Borthwick Jackson. Very good sign. On the last podcast, we actually said we weren't that fussed about signing him because Wolves fans had talked about how poor he was. And now I just think Wolves fans are full of shit, basically.
Based on his 2 games so far, yeah, got to agree with you again. He, again, I know we keep saying it, it's, no offence to Port Vale, but his debut, it's Port Vale in League Cup. But he had a good game, he linked up well, he overlapped well, put a decent ball in, to be fair, as well. I think with a couple of them, especially if he'd have had Chris Wood on end of him, it could have been a different story. But it's good to see that we've got Ayling on right hand side that's a willing runner, he's willing to overlap, but he will get himself back and do his defensive work. Looks like Borthwick Jackson's same as well, so going forward it's it looks good. Yeah,
I know it's very early days, but from the way that he's been so far, I think he's going to have a really good season for us. But I'm also kind of hoping that with all of his kick-off at Spurs, I'm kind of hoping Man United sign Danny Rose, because then they'll have 2 quality left-backs and then we might be able to keep him at the end of this season.
It'd be nice. as much as it paid me to see Danny Rose go to Man United, but still, don't matter.
Danny Rose is way above us at the minute. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not going to get a player like that for
No.
at least 2 years.
Oh yeah, let's get up first and get established again.
We'll get up, and then we'll finish third in Premier League next year, and then we'll be able to start signing players like that.
Show Ipswich how it should have been done all them years ago when they pretended when they were chasing us.
Yeah.
If we get anything if Danny Rose moved.
And I'm not sure. I think that any clause like that might have been bought out
when we were well and truly in the proverbial.
I'm not 100% sure. If I have read out about it, it's years ago, so I could be misremembering.
Because I remember that we got rid of the sell-on clause on... Was it Danny Rose or Aaron Lennon?
Aaron Lennon.
That when we sold on. Yeah, it was Aaron Lennon, so we could get Captain
Nichols.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't want to give him his name.
Oh, fucking hell. I'd managed to forget about him.
Oh, well, yeah. Apologies, I have brought him to the forefront of your minds again. Sorry about that.
Mr. Luton.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting if Danny Rose does go, because if we get anything from that deal, because I mean that's been 10 years now since he left.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, something like that.
What year we went down to League One?
Yeah,
something around then. Yeah.
It was either first year in League One or we went down 06, 07 or 07, 08, I think it was. But yeah, it was about the first year in League One, I think.
Danny Rose due a testimonial at this point.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's mad.
I think that they might do it based off when he broke into the first team rather than...
Yeah, because if you think about it...
Because otherwise, like Charlie Taylor's due one at Leeds.
Yeah. Theo Walcott's due one at Arsenal about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
On Football Manager, I'm a couple of seasons in now, and Leeds are playing Tottenham in a pre-season friendly as a testimonial for Danny Rose, which is quite nice.
It's a nice touch.
So he's not going to be too far away.
Yeah. In our predictions for that Preston game, I'm the only one that got the correct result. None of us got the correct score, but I had a 1-1 draw. You both had Leeds winning.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I only picked a draw because I didn't want us all to have Leeds to win every game. So at least I got something out of it.
Yeah.
And you two have seen a unicorn, a 0-0 draw at Ellen Road. Never happens.
He's got a point.
Yeah, there's not many. There really isn't many at all, is there? But the one thing that we should mention, Alex Neil after the game coming out and complaining about the ticket prices at Ellen Road, which he is completely right.
Yeah, it's pathetic.
It's just bollocks for Leeds fans as well. Well, I think I don't know if I think that the £5 on the day thing is the same for away fans as well.
And that's pathetic as well.
So it will have been £39 before the day, and 44 if you tried to buy it on the day. I think it was.
You see, I don't know when this has come in. I don't know why it's come in, but what makes club think they've got a right to charge fans who pay good money as it is to go and support the team an extra £5 for buying it on there? Should they not be grateful that people are coming out, they're getting backsides on seats and they're getting money off of us as it is? I know they're doing deals at the moment, especially for a cup game with kids and under 16s and all that sort of thing, but I think it stinks to high heaven that they've got this £5 on the day charge. I think it's wrong. You can live with an online booking fee. That's just a general rule of thumb now. But I think this £5 business is a lot of crap, to be honest. And I think the pricing for Preston fans, away fans in general, it's got every right to kick off about it.
Yeah, because when I first looked at their end, I thought, God, they haven't bought many. And then I went, oh yeah, but they're in West Ham. It's West Ham prices.
Yeah.
So I can't really blame them for not bringing many.
I mean, when they got moved from the cheese wedge, it worked in theory because, fair enough, it were cheaper tickets for Leeds fans, more cheaper tickets even, should I say. Which, great for Leeds fans, but, you can't then take it out on the away fans and start charging them top whack for it. With best will in the world, they're watching second division football. They're paying, what most of the teams in Premier League don't charge to watch second division football. When all's said and done, it's wrong.
There has been talks as well to try and get sort of a blanket agreement amongst Championship clubs to settle on, about a £25 ticket fee for away fans, which, you see some of the conditions. I know it kind of varies ground to ground, but you see some of the conditions the away fans get put in. I do think £25 would just kind of be a reasonable price across the board.
This is what I was going to just put to you both then. I mean, what do we think would be an acceptable price to pay? I mean, I know me and you have got season tickets this year, Jack, but, you know, if you were to go down on the day and pay, what would be an acceptable price to you? I mean, to me, I think for Championship football, £30 more than enough. And I think for children, it should be a tenner.
Yeah, I've always said for second division 30 is about right, and for top division 40 is about right.
Yeah, I think that's fair dues, and I think for kids, it should be a tenner tops. You know, these are the next generations of fans that we're wanting to come through and keep it going. And at the moment, you know, the pricing people out of it. You know, if you're wanting to go to a game and you've got a couple of kids with you as well, all of a sudden it's costing you an arm and a leg before you even get in there, and you take into account everything else. It's I think that it needs to be looked at across board. You know, not just in Football League, just in Premier League as well, especially in Premier League. But yeah.
Well, to be fair, that 20's Plenty campaign has done some really good work with that.
Yeah,
they've managed to get some, and there's been a little bit of progress. I think if every club had a reciprocal arrangement, £25 for away games,
yeah,
I think that'd be fine.
It is when you've got to factor in, you know, these away fans.
They've got to travel and.
Yeah. You've got price of fuel, you've got price of, if they've met their own way, you've got price of them having to pay for coach tickets, you know, you've got that to think about as well before you actually get your match day ticket. I just think a bit more consideration for the away fans would be, could go a long way. I think, you know, it's a, you know, I know there's a lot of people in Football League that won't think it, but dropping price, they'll actually make more money. They'll get more people through gates. It's simple as that.
It doesn't really make a difference when they're playing Leeds, because we sell them out anyway.
Well, yeah.
As away ends. But it's more the principle of the thing than the...
Yeah, I think regardless of whether, you know, you're a club like us, like Newcastle last year when they were down, Villa, you know, they've got decent support for that, for this league. Just because your fans are loyal, you know, it's like you've just said, that shouldn't be a reason to rip them off, basically. Whether your fans will... Sorry, go on, Kirsty.
It is a shame when you see a club that's not that far away, like Preston, that aren't selling it out for what I imagine is their first proper away trip of the season. Yeah. You know, so straight away it kind of makes you think that there's something wrong with the pricing. Because for the first away trip of the season, you'd expect tickets to be flying off the shelf and everywhere to be sold out. So to say that they didn't sell out is quite disappointing.
Not only that and all, I mean, I know without wanting to blow smoke up his own asses, you know, it's Leeds United away and all, you know, regardless of what, you know, has gone on at club over the last 10, 15 years, we're still a big draw in this league. You know, with everything about it's Premier League club, the stadium, the facilities, everything's Premier League club. So it's like you say, when you're looking at these away attendances coming into Elland Road and they're not selling out, it tells you everything you need to know. Something needs to be looked at. Likewise, you know, for us as well, because I dare say it happens to Leeds fans as well. It's not just us that are doing it.
You just sounded like a new signing at first then. Yeah, you know, you look around the ground, the training facilities, it's all Premier League quality.
Yeah.
If I put on my Irish accent and say it's my dream to play for it, to be here, could I be classed as Robbie Keane?
Yeah. Well, as we know, he grew up watching Kolkata.
It was his dream to play in the Indian Super League.
Yeah, and as you sounded like a new signing, that was a massive sidetrack from talking about Cameron Borthwick-Jackson.
There he goes again.
He's a good signing.
Yeah, good signing. There is one other signing that we should mention. We've signed the boy. Shout out to OSW.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your boy has gone straight out on loan to Cultural Leonessa, having signed a 4-year deal. He's the first one straight over to his new feeder club.
Depends how ready he is for first team football.
You'd think fairly, he's like 24.
Yeah, you know, I know he hasn't played a lot of football recently, but to me it seemed when we signed him, we're short centre halves. give him a try here first, and then if he ain't ready, send him out there. Fair enough. But overall, yeah, you know, he's come from Juve. He's obviously got summit. He's played for. He's had a few loan spells out as well, hasn't he?
He's had a few loan spells, but I think that Juve took him off Ajax quite early because he had a bit of potential.
So he's come through, he's come through Ajax Academy again. I think we were talking about that Lazach as well, weren't we, last podcast? You know, You come from a club like Ajax, it's in the DNA. You know that they breed decent footballers.
It explains why he can play in midfield and at centre half.
Yeah. I've noticed that with Christiansen and just in general, a lot of the signings, they're very versatile. They're not just one position players that they can fill in, which is good. You know,
to be fair, that's probably more on Orta than Christiansen.
Possibly, yeah. But it's nice to see. You know, it helps us out when we're. I mean, fair enough, he's not here for this season, but you know, when you've got that versatility there, like with Borthwick Jackson, he can fill in at centre back as well. You know, it's nice to have that option there, especially with, you know, problems we've got with injuries in that position at the moment. So that is something that I've noticed with signings. It's good to see that they thought out as well, and that, you know, there's a bit of research going into it.
Yeah,
I know we've spoke before about a couple of players getting contracts, and we'll come on to that. I do look at a player like you coming in, being loaned out straight away, and think 4 years, a long time.
He is one. He's the first one that we've signed on a long-term deal where I thought, that seems a little long.
Depends
you
how much
normally
we're
go
paying
with
him.
maybe 2 years and the option of an extra year, but 4 years seems a long time. Hopefully, that is a sign that we rate him somewhat, and we just want him to get a bit more game time under his belt. But at this point, I've not a clue.
I mean, we said it last podcast, didn't we? This cultural Leoness doing Spanish second division, aren't they?
Yeah.
So it's not like he's going out on loan to play at, like we discussed before, going out to Geisley with best will in the world. No offence to Geisley, but he's playing.
What
Spanish.
you saying about the Vanarama National?
But you know, he's going out and he's playing. You know, he's playing at a pretty decent level. You know, it's. So yeah, it's like you said, it's 4 year deal they've given him. It's hopefully a sign that they think there's something there with him, and if we're not paying him that much money, which I don't think we will be, comparatively. Yeah, we're guessing, aren't we? Until he comes back next season, who knows?
Yeah, hopefully he wins Spanish. What's their championship called? Liga 1, 2, 3 or something like that.
Whatever it is, yeah.
Well, if Santander is top division, then 1, 2, 3 is one of their current accounts. I think that might be right.
Yeah.
But the other thing we've got instead of signings is we've actually tied down a load of players. The latest sign of Leeds being run like an actual football club.
Yep.
First one was Calvin Phillips just before first game, 4 year deal.
It's fantastic. We're all happy. We're actually handing out reasonable contracts that secure the long-term future of a player. It's brilliant. I can't remember a time since we did that.
Nah, come on. Ross McCormack used to sign a new contract at the end of every season. Come on.
Yeah, but there were only like 2 and 3.
It's nice to see an academy product tied down as well. You know, I think he just missed that that time period when we had like Coke, Taylor, Mowat, Byram all coming through at that time. I think he would just that 6 months possibly away from being there with him. I know I've had my views on Calvin Phillips, but given what I've seen so far, it looks like he's matured a little bit.
He looks a bit stronger this year.
Looks like he's been at gym a little bit. It looks like he's filled out a little bit as well, which is, you know, fair enough, especially in his position as well. But, you know, it's good. It's just nice to see that we've tied him down to a long-term deal, because if he does come something like, we've got a bit of leverage at least, you know, if the worst comes to worse and someone comes in for him and we're not in a position to keep him like we have been with other youngsters, at least if we've got a bit of time in his contract, we've got a bit of leverage in terms of price that we can ask for him. So even down to that, I know it's a bit, you know, people might think it's a bit of a negative way of looking at it, but you've got to be realistic, and if we're in Championship, it's something that could happen. So it's nice to see him tied down to a decent amount of time, yeah.
Yeah, he's still a little bit inconsistent. I mean, like, against Bolton, he was brilliant. Against Preston, I thought he was fairly poor, to be honest.
Yeah,
He tried, but he put in plenty of battling, but one of guys next to me, when he got subbed off, one of the guys next to me in Cobb was furious because he thought he'd been best player on pitch, so I'm not sure what game he were watching.
Yeah.
But the next one that we got was Tyler Denton, 3-year deal, and then immediately loaned to Brownie at Port Vale.
He's going to come back like Berardi, isn't he? When we first signed Berardi. You can just see it, can't you?
What, with a quiff?
I think Tyler Denton would rock a quiff, if I'm being honest, but you can just see him now, can't you? He'll come back next season and, break someone's ankle first game of season or something daft like that. But, nah, joking aside, it's the right thing for him with a number of youngsters that we've got there. Get him out, fair enough, it's a couple of leagues lower, but, he scored that screamer, didn't he, last year in Cup against Luton. Might have made a handful of sub appearances after.
Yeah.
But just get him out, get him playing, and then
see how he does.
Yeah, hopefully he has a good year for them. And Brownie.
Yeah, it'd be good to get him some game time. From what the little bits I've seen of Tyler Denton, I think he'd be a good option to have as a backup over the next couple of years. And hopefully, if he progresses, he can push towards the first team. I mean, we have no idea where it's going to go with the Cameron Borthwick-Jackson deal, but Berardi's 28, 29 now, so we do need to be getting to a point where we're looking to the future of, all right, who is going to be the next person to come in here, whether we're still in the Championship or the Premiership. If Denton's still here, then ideally it'd be quite nice to have another one from the academy pushing on, but it's good to know that right now he has a secure future here, so we can at least give him that chance.
Yeah, he needed to go out because, like you were saying, Borthwick-Jackson and Berardi are both ahead of him. Yeah. And Berardi's another one who's got a new deal, 3 years. Yeah. Everyone's absolutely delighted because he is now pretty much everyone's favourite player, isn't he?
Well, it's not only that. I think if you were to turn around at the start of it all and you were to ask who's going to be your favourite Massimo Cellino signing, would any of us have said Gaetano Berardi?
Probably not, no.
There you go.
That's, definitely not after his 2 red cards.
So you've got to give credit where credit's due. I mean, we touched on it in last podcast and maybe one before it as well, but he's come on leaps and bounds. He's brilliant for this league. He's solid. He does what he's meant to do. He's a battler. He's everything that you want in Championship. I'm delighted he's got another deal. He's in his. After it sounds now, this is his 4th season now.
Jesus.
He was one of the original lot that came when Cellino had his influx. He landed when Tommaso Bianchi did. Bless him.
Sorry, I just had visions of it being him.
But yeah, all in all though, yeah, great to see him get a 3-year deal, tie him up. That'll take him through to his early 30s, 31, 32 probably. So it's about right. And then hopefully Tyler Denton will be in a position. I think if it all pans out how we're hoping it is, it could be similar to the Stephen Warnock, Charlie Taylor situation we had a few years ago when Warnock let him go to Derby.
Warnock let Warnock go?
Yes. And at the time we were all a bit, oh God, we've let him go, but obviously we had Charlie Taylor there ready and waiting at wings, so hopefully it'll be another thing with Berardi and Denton if everything works out to plan.
Yeah. As we've just mentioned Denton and going out on loan, we should probably mention Marcus Antonsen now, just because he's the only other out. Loan to Blackburn. If he gets himself right, I think it could be at least 15 goals in that league.
Could be like Sommer when he went out to Lincoln.
Yeah.
You'd hope that's the best possible outcome. Not saying he's gonna, but he needs to play football. He hasn't played. He's been nowhere near team for us. It's clear that he's not in Christiansen's plans this year, so it works for him, works for us. Hopefully he bangs a lot of goals in for Blackburn. As much as I like seeing him down there, it's quite funny. But it works for both parties. So good luck to him.
Yeah. I doubly need him to have a good season, just because one, I do like him, but two, in my predictions on for it altogether, I've got Blackburn winning the league, I think. Or at least getting promoted, one of the two.
Not got off to the best start, though.
No, not the best start. And I work with a couple of Blackburn fans, so I should get fairly regular updates on him.
Fair dues.
What do we think is going to happen to Dukara now that Antonsen's gone out? Because he's still hanging around.
Well, I'm hoping
Did
that he
he
fucks
make
all
the
the
bench
way
against
off.
Port Vale? I can't remember, but I don't think he did.
I don't. If he did, he would on bench, and I don't think he would even on bench.
No, I don't think he
I
will.
can't remember now, but like Jack's just said, you'd like to hope he goes. He did a job for us last season. Fair play to him. He put in a shift, but even take away the facts, the Charlton fiasco, everything else that's gone on when he's been here. I think last year went some sort of way to redeeming himself. Not saying fully, but it helped. But I think it's another one now. I think teams moved on, and I can't see a place for Dakota anymore.
Yeah, someone who I think has worked his way up in Leeds' estimations a lot more than that is Liam Cooper. He's had a new 4-year deal as well. And 4 years, I think, is a year too long.
How old is he?
It's not his age. I'm hoping that in 3 years we'll be at a standard where we wouldn't need him.
Possibly, yeah.
But he's definitely earned his new contract. He's come in, he's had a solid start to the season. He's a solid backup. As I say, I'd have given him a 3-year deal, but
I think the fact that
that's a very nitpicky complaint, admittedly.
I think the fact that club's given him a 4-year deal kind of shows, regardless of what anyone thinks about him, he's highly thought of at club. Clearly, for him to be captaining us and be in and around that sort of, calibre at club, it says a lot about him. It says a lot about his character, I think. Regardless of what we think of him on a football pitch and his ability, I think his personality around place is obviously a character in changing room. He's obviously, he brings something to the club. He must do in order to him to commit to another 4 years for him. So, they obviously see stuff we don't. So you've got to trust club on it, I think. And to press, he's doing a good job. He failed him well last season, and up to press, he's done well this year. So another one that I'm happy with.
I mean, with the plan as well, allegedly being 3 years for us to get promoted, including this season, then it kind of makes sense to have him under contract to cover that period of time while he is probably not going to be a regular player. But it makes sense to just keep someone like him around who, as we said earlier, seems to be liked by the players. He's the captain when he's in the team, so it makes sense to have him around for that period of time anyway, while we're going to be in a league that for the most part he's looked comfortable playing in, if unspectacular. I know he's had his moments now. Kind of went off last year after the Sutton fiasco, but it just makes sense to keep players like him, keep them around under contract while the plan is that to be in and around the championship.
I think another thing that didn't help Liam Cooper's cause, especially last season, were we were spoilt with Bartley and Janssen and then hitting it off like they did. Not that that's a bad thing, I think it were about time we had a good solid defensive partnership in there. But I don't think that helped Liam Cooper's cause, because when he came in, the slightest error, it were, Janssen wouldn't have done that, Bartley wouldn't have done that, they'd have done it another way, which is fine and it's perfectly okay to say that. But I think now Bartley's gone and he's not coming back, in a way I think that's going to bring Liam Cooper on. He's going to have to do it. I think he's at a stage now where he's either going to sink or swim. Hopefully it's the latter. So we'll just see how it plays out with him. But yeah, like I say, it's obviously a good character. So let's have him there.
He's a good character, and as I've been saying the whole time, I do think he's better than he gets credit for. I don't think he's a world beater by any stretch, but the last one is the player that I still think is going to have a massive season for us this year, and I'm delighted that he signed a new contract. Ewan O'Kane.
How long did he have left on his current deal? Because he only signed last year.
He only had 1 year. I think it was only a 2-year deal that he signed.
Bloody hell. I didn't know that one.
I'm trying to remember now off the top of my head. There's still a couple. Like, Dakara's got 1 year left, but he shouldn't get a new one. Dallas has only got 1 year left.
Yeah, this will be his second season. Yeah.
Dallas has only got 1 year left.
No, tell a lie. Sorry. This is his third season.
Yeah, I think this is his last one on his contract. So with him, I'd probably give it a month and see how he gets on.
Yeah.
If he gets into the team and starts playing well, then I'd give him another 2 year.
Yeah.
But no, I'm delighted that O'Kane's got one, because I think, for me, in midfield, he's the centre mid that I would definitely be picking every week at the minute.
Well, he came through with Bournemouth, didn't he, when they had the rise and they made it to Premier League. When he played for Bournemouth in Premier League, he looked all right, as well as he were going to look in that Bournemouth team when they first went up. He didn't look out of place. I'm not saying he's a, he's a pending Premier League player, not at all, but he did a job up there, and it's good to know that he is capable of doing that. If we do get there, we've got someone who, fair enough, they're not going to pull up any trees in league, but they can do a job for if we get there. They can, steady ship as such, and provide a bit of stability for when we are in there to start off with. So again, and it's nice to see that we're tying him down to decent lengths at the end of a 4-year one. Yeah, it's good to see.
I mean, for me, it's just a big thing that we are tying these players down. I put on Twitter a few days ago about the importance of this, and since Bates was around, we've not been in a position where we've been giving out these long contracts, or we've done it when a player's first broken into the team, and then we've kind of just watched it run down. And you've seen how Byron moved on, how Taylor moved on, how we lost Mowat last season, who, whether they're in the first team or not, you don't want to be losing the players, especially that are coming through the club, for little money. We probably should have been getting more money for Alex Mowat, and unfortunately he only had a short time left, and we felt the need to sell him because he wasn't going to be around. But we, for a long time now, we're giving these contracts out, and I would much rather us be in this position. We joked about it earlier about McCormack getting a new sort of extension at the end of every year, where we're giving out these 4-year deals, and then the younger players, such as Calvin Phillips, if he has a good year, I'm not opposed to giving him a 1-year extension on that, just offering him a new 4-year contract at the end of the season, just to keep them tied down, as opposed to watching these contracts whittling down, and then it gets to the last season and all of a sudden we're in a panic as to whether we're going to get money for them, whether they're going to stay on, whether we're going to have to sell them in the middle of the season. And we shouldn't be getting into that position. It's vital for clubs in the Championship to have these players tied down, whether they're in your first team or whether you see them as having potential, to get them tied down to your club, and that's how you generate your money. And it's good to see we're in a position now where we're looking to do that again.
It's not only that, it's like I said earlier and all, you like see Calvin Phillips, if we'd have done something like with likes of Taylor and Byram and the likes, you've got a bit of leverage there. If like what Taylor did and said he wanted to leave, and you've got that sort of situation with a player, if we tied him down to any sort of, reasonable length of contract, you've got that leverage there to say, right, fair enough then, well, if you want to leave, that's fine. I'm a big believer, if someone don't want to be there, don't try and convince them. There's no point. If they've had their head turned, fair enough, let them go, especially when we're in this league and you're talking about Premier League clubs coming in. But, like I said about Calvin Phillips, if 18 months down the line he's talking and he wants to go, let's say, God forbid, I hope he don't, but, we're going to have 2 years left on his contract, so we have got that bit of leverage there when we're negotiating the price.
Well, look at Virgil van Dijk now.
Yeah.
Southampton are going to sell him in this window. I refuse to believe. I mean, they keep saying, no, we'll let you what he deserves. No, they won't. They're not stupid.
Too much money.
But he signed a 5.5-year deal in January.
Yeah.
They can sit there and go, right, we want 60 million quid. And they can just sit there until someone panics at end of transfer window and gives them 60 million quid.
Yeah.
Which someone will.
Of course they will.
Well, someone will give them 50.
Someone like Chelsea.
Or Arsenal.
Yeah.
It's very unlike Wenger, but they need centre half.
Yeah.
Particularly a ball playing one.
Mm.
But either that or Radrizzani can add to the 100 million he's already pumped into Leeds United and just spend 50 million and 120 grand a week, and we'll have him in Championship.
Yeah, we'll take him.
Yeah. A slightly more realistic link we've had, Pierre-Michel Lasogga. It's the only real massive link we've had, isn't it, over the last few days? There's been little talk about McCormack and stuff, but I think that's just paper talk going, he used to play for Leeds, so we'll say he's going back.
Yeah, I think now Beckford's done and past it. I think McCormack could become the new Beckford, who had become the new Smith.
Yeah, just every transfer window we'll talk about signing him.
Yeah, this Lasogga thing, like I said, I've said it past, I'm a fan of German football. I do watch quite a bit of it. from what I've seen of him when I've watched Hamburg. I know Hamburger's been struggling towards bottom end at Bundesliga for the last few years now, but no, not for me.
Yeah,
No.
I've heard a lot of people say that. He apparently I thought that I in my head had him as quite good because again he was good on Football Managers a few years ago, but apparently since then he's had quite a bad injury and he's lost a lot of pace and he's just not the player he was.
And his attitude stinks to high heaven, apparently, from what I can gather. How true it is, I don't know. But
True enough that they've said they're willing to get rid of him and apparently they're willing to subsidise his wages just to get him out.
tells you everything. I mean, no matter how poor Hamburg have been in the last few years, you know, for the club to do that, they're not in any sort of financial difficulties. You know, they run well. So if they're trying that bad to offload a player like that, we don't want him. His goal record's not great. He's had the injury. His problems about his attitude. Nah, not
He's
for me.
one of them. If they only want us to contribute $5,000 a week out of his wages, I'd maybe take a chance. But I have a feeling that it'd be more like 20,
Yeah.
and that sounds like an expensive risk for me.
Yeah, just looking at his goal record as well, like you say, it's not anything you'd be looking at and thinking, oh, well, at least it's someone who's going to push Chris Wood for a place. It's, you know, it's not inspiring you in any way or giving you any high hopes for him. And then if he sounds like he's going to be a difficult character coming in, you just think we've just got rid of Belushi. Do we need someone else coming in and
I'm sure he's not that much
possibly
of a
upsetting
prick.
the harmony? Well, I know it's hard to be that much of a prick, but you know, you want to try and limit that as much as possible, and especially if he's coming in and Chris Wood does stay, then he's probably not going to play as much and more likely to kick off. So it's probably worth staying away from if that is the case.
That very much is the key question, though. If we signed Lasogga or someone else as a striker, basically, our next podcast will be after the window shuts. Normally, it's every 2 weeks. Connie's away in 2 weeks, and it's an international break, so it'll be 3 weeks. So we may as well talk about it now and have a prediction. Come the window being shut, is Chris Wood going to be a Leeds United player?
My heart says yeah. My head says no. And I hope to Christ I'm wrong. I think if, I don't know, Burnley have come in with £12 million, and that's a piss take, I'm sorry.
As I put on Twitter, which leg did they want?
Yeah, you know, that if Andre Gray's worth £18 million, he's done all right in Premier League. You know, we're talking about a player now where market's gone mad. He's banged in goals for fun in this league. This should be, to me, what's a good price you take? 20.
Well, you see,
in today's market, 20.
my thing that I said on Twitter, I don't. First of all, let me just so no one gets this wrong. I don't want us to sell him for any price.
No.
But I said if he asks to move to the Premier League, if he says, "Look, I've got to do this,"
Yeah.
then I'd take 25. If he doesn't ask to move, then I'd ask for 35. And people saying 35 is a ridiculous price. Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah. If some, it's. I know we're talking a few years ago now, but it's the McCormack logic. £11 million at that time for a player like Ross McCormack. Never played in top division in England. Up until when we first signed him at Leeds, he was nowhere near first team. He couldn't hit a barn door. That's not me having a go at Ross McCormack.
Before he got his injury at Cardiff, he was really good.
He was good, but when we first signed him, he wasn't great. Granted, he was coming back from his injury, fair play, but £11 million for a player like that at that time were over odds, way over odds. At that point, Ross McCormack wasn't worth £11 million in a month for Sundays. Chris Wood's never going to be worth £35 million. I don't think he's worth 20. If I'm being, I don't think he's worth 10. Let's be honest. Let's just bring it.
Yeah.
You know, if we want talking in silly
Football
times,
money.
you know, yeah. But to me, if someone came in, if Burnley come back and they offered 20, I think they'll go. I think Leeds will accept for 20 million, which I ain't got an issue with.
We would need something in replacement for that, and I don't know off the top of my head what Burnley would have to offer, because I don't feel we're in a position. I don't think Ekuban would be the answer right now as the next first choice striker. So we would need someone to come in as well. I don't know if there is anyone that Burnley would be willing to.
I don't think
swap.
I don't think there's anyone Burnley have got now who I'd be willing to have who would be willing to come to Leeds.
The
Sam
only
Vokes.
one
Burnley
that-
still have,
yeah.
we've had Sam Vokes still there.
Yeah, Sam,
Yes.
he scored twice at Stamford Bridge. On Saturday.
Yeah, like I don't. But, all right, fair enough. Because I still have horrible memories of him being awful in League One for us.
What, like one goal in 10 games, I think he got.
Yeah, he spent more
Yeah,
time
it was
falling
like
over as well.
He was like every other loanee we had in League One that played up front. Got his customary one goal, and that was it.
Yeah.
But I without seeing Burnley's squad, I couldn't possibly say what we'd want. But right now, there's no one that's standing out to me as someone we'd want to bring in as a replacement for Chris Wood and rely on them to try and get us 20 goals.
To me, if we, let's say, hypothetically speaking, they come back in Burnley and they offer £20 million and we say, yep, it can go. Looking around at Championship, there ain't really anyone. I mean, to be honest, I think Sunderland have got a cracking deal getting Lewis Graben. And he's
Yeah.
proved it so far.
He's a good signing, but to be honest, I don't think he'd suit our system that well.
No, I don't know. To me, and again, I don't think he'd suit a system, but I might have touched upon it in past, and I know it'd be a bit of a gamble, and I'm not saying go out and blow all his money on him. The only one I could see realistically, well, I say realistically, would be Lee Griffiths up at Celtic. And it's not a great one, I know, but
Met with stunning indifference.
yeah, it's not a great one, but you look around Championship, who is there realistically who we could get in?
This is the main reason why, if he doesn't ask to go, I'd be asking for such ridiculous money. Because I have genuinely been thinking about who could we get, who do we want. We had a conversation in pub months ago, and I said if someone came in and gave us 20 million for Wood, I'd go out and I'd spend 12, 13 million and get Britt Assombalonga.
Yep.
That's already gone now. And he was a risk anyway because of his injuries. But now he was the only option in pre-season that I could think of. And Middlesbrough have already signed him.
I'll tell you who there is.
Don't worry, guys. I've thought of someone. It makes a lot of sense. Knows the club. Just sold his house in Spain. Good rapport with the fans. It's time for Luciano to come
I was
home.
just going to say, does he cost less than Berbatov and score more goals?
Very much so, yes. But, always Luciano. Get
tell
him
you-
back.
I'll tell you one that is a possibility. Again, it'd be a bit of a risk. Depends how much they'd want for him, but he is apparently on the move again. Jordan Rhodes.
It would very much depend on the fee and
Yeah.
the wages.
If we could get him let's say we sold Chris Wood for for 20 odd million pound.
Wednesday paid 10, didn't they?
If we could get him for 6 or 7, and we had the Chris Wood money, I think he could be worth a punt. Also, Forestieri's had a fallout at Chef Wednesday. He was left out of the team at weekend. I'm not saying he's the one, and he could be very
Wrong position. He's more an off the front player, and we'd need a striker.
Yeah, fair point.
Don't get me wrong, Forestieri's a good player, but we've got Size and Hernandez to play in behind him. We've got 4 wingers. He's a good player, but he's not what we need.
I think Rhodes could be.
I think you look at someone like Jordan Rhodes as well. If we could get him in on a similar deal to like Pontus came in with last season, where if he plays X amount of games, then we sign him. Because if he gets to, say if it was 20 games and we get to 19 and he's only got 3 goals, then we can just say, right, cut it short there.
That's not a bad idea, actually.
No.
Because I think that way we can guarantee that he'd play regularly. We give him a fair chance, and then you set up a fee for him in that position. He doesn't seem like Wednesday wants him, so I'd say anywhere between like 6 and 10 million.
Yeah.
And I think that would be a reasonable way of doing it. Whether they'd go for it or not, I don't know, but that would be a good way for us to go about it.
Again, he may not be possibly right. I know he plays a bit across the front line. Has Stephen Naismith been snapped up yet?
Right, because he was getting released, wasn't he?
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that he played in Norwich's last game.
Outside of obviously.
So they must have
going back,
agreed. They
right.
must have agreed something. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they did.
Let's have a look. I'm just on my laptop.
Well,
now.
because
It's
I have
saying
seen-
he's still a Norwich player.
Yeah, I've seen their fixtures because they've played Fulham and Sunderland.
Yeah.
So I had a look at them results when I was looking at the games that we've got coming up, and I'm sure we played in both of them. So they must have agreed something.
You know how whenever players join Leeds, and then when they leave, by the time you look at their Wikipedia page, it is incredibly detailed.
Yeah, the lead stuff is always longer.
I want to read you Stephen Naismith's Norwich City bio.
And he's been there, 3 years after like an £8 million move?
Yeah.
In January 2016, Naismith joined Norwich City on a 3.5-year deal. He made his debut 4 days later, scoring Norwich's second goal in a 5-4 home defeat to Liverpool. That is it. That is his Norwich City.
What? So, and he's been there like a year and a half of a 3.5-year deal after £8 million, and there's one sentence.
Yep, one
Jesus.
sentence. And according to Wikipedia, and I know there's better sources, but 5 goals in 32 games, which again isn't entirely
It isn't great, but he's more of a work rate guy. He's more of a guy who plays up front with the goal scorer.
Is your Becchio.
Yeah.
Is your runner.
Even though he actually did score loads of goals.
I believe the technical term is a Noel Hunt.
There's no need for rhyming slang,
I was going to say, yeah. What's Stephen Naismith ever done to you?
But genuinely, you see, again, we're coming up with all these names. None of them stand out.
None
of them you'd take anywhere even close to having Wood.
If we keep Chris Wood, I think barring the Rhodes deal, and even then it'd be an unrealistic one because he won't start ahead of Chris Wood. We've said Naismith. I know McCormack got mooted around.
I'd still, if we could get him on a loan to permanent and not pay all his wages, I'd still be willing to take a chance on Ross.
Possibly.
I mean, I know he's been a dick over the last 2 years. I mean, he's obviously not had his head right, but
Yeah.
I keep thinking back to how good he was. And I just keep thinking, if we could get him cheap, is he worth a shout?
I don't think he would be that expensive because he's
No, but his wages will be.
He's 30 now. I know his wages will be high, but he's 30 now. I'm sure. Is he still with Villa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure at this point they kind of want rid of him after how he's been over the last couple of years. He's been an interesting character, but it was funny to see him last season coming back, and when his son's the mascot for us against Villa, kind of said a lot about his feelings. And I know obviously he had that big fallout with Steve Bruce, but it might be someone that's worth giving a go. I can't imagine we'd have to pay too much for him. I don't know what his wages would be like, but it may be worth having a go. But again, he's not the player I'd want to choose ahead of Chris Wood. But he got up quite a few goals for us, and it could be worth another go. Whether it'd work out or not, you'd never know. But I'd be willing to give it a try if it came to that.
Yeah, there's another one and all you could throw out there. I know we're kind of plucking names out of thin air here in hope more than out, I think, if it were to materialise. There's Gary Hooper at Sheff Wednesday. He's done all right for him. He did all right for Norwich. Did well up in Scotland for Celtic, but that doesn't really say about that. Again, it'd be more in hope than expectation, I think, if you were to sign someone like Gary Hooper. It'd be a bit of a gamble. I don't think he's anywhere near the same calibre of Chris Wood. It's just names who are a possibility if he could,
Just about everyone we come up with is someone who you'd like to have as a backup to Wood.
Yeah.
I mean, you just look at... I mean, Wednesday have got what? They've got Stephen Fletcher, Forestieri, they've got Winall, Hooper. They've got that Lucas Zhao still, I think.
Yeah, he's still there.
Rhodes.
Jordan Rhodes, obviously, who we mentioned earlier. So they've got 6.
I'll tell you one, we had him on books, and I still say it now, biggest balls up we've done in a long, long time, Billy Sharp. He's a goal scorer. I'm not saying he's in the same bracket as Chris Wood,
Yeah.
but he's a goal scorer.
Yeah, he definitely won't become that. There's actually 2 others that I can come up with off the top of my head. But neither of them would... Well, one of them would play the same way as Wood, actually, in a relatively similar vein, but one of them won't. The one that wouldn't, Nua Dicko from Wolves.
Did well at Rotherham.
Quick. It'd be a different type of striker because he's not as big, but he's powerful in a different way.
I suppose if you were to bring in someone, be it Nua Dicko or someone like that, it'd suit the likes of Size and Hernandez with the little through balls.
Well,
into
that's why I think McCormack could be worth taking a chance on. I think he'd link up well with them.
Yeah.
The one who was a bit more similar, but I think he'd cost too much money because he's only just gone back to him from being on loan at Fulham, Chris Martin.
Yeah. But didn't he have a fallout with him, though? He didn't want to go back, did he?
He fell out at one point with Fulham and wanted to go back.
Right.
When he was on loan, and he wanted to like get his loan terminated early and stuff, but it didn't quite happen.
I think anyone, like we've said, I mean, it's all hypothetical, but if Wood was to go realistically, you're looking at, it's going to be a detriment to the team.
Yeah, it's going to be a step down almost no matter who we get in.
I think only way you're looking at it, and it's never going to happen, is if we turned around and, someone like Newcastle came in and said, fair enough then, give us Dwight Gale and 5 million.
Or give us Mitrovic.
Yeah, I think some of that ilk is never going to happen, but I think that's the only way you can kind of get someone in who's of a similar calibre of him, who is capable of getting goals in this league. But hopefully, this is a completely pointless chat, and Chris Wood's here. I hope against everything I've said that he is, obviously. So, yeah, fingers crossed. Can't come quick enough, though, as far as Chris Wood's concerned.
Yeah,
get it finished.
Yeah, I really hope that's right. The only way I could see us replacing him on the cheap is if we got lucky with signing someone foreign.
Yeah.
Like, from elsewhere. Like, I just jumped back into my head, actually, and I should have remembered this because it was written up on For It Altogether. But that, Cabanaga from Astana?
Oh, yeah.
That Junior Cabanaga, isn't it? That's his name.
Yeah, he did well for them a couple of years ago when they were in Champions League, wasn't
Yeah, he's been linked. He was linked with us and Forest, but Forest have already signed about 4 strikers. I mean, admittedly, they sold a Sambalonger to do it, but they have got a few.
Got him in.
It'd be interesting to see him because they're playing Celtic out there this week.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, well. But, yeah, either way, I don't want Wood to go. That's the main takeaway. But that turned into a much longer discussion than we were expecting. And
hopefully, at the end of it all, like I've just said, it'll be a pointless conversation we've just had.
Yeah. Well, that's all the football stuff. We will quickly touch on a couple of things off the field, but I mean quickly because we've gone a lot longer on this than we were expecting. The main things to talk about are that LUFC Trust mural's been done. Well, been approved. Should all be done relatively soon. It'll look decent on tunnel.
Yeah, it seems to be the plans that I've seen seem to be pretty good. The stuff that they've done so far and all that stadium, I know I have my reservations about it, but it looks like it's been done in a decent enough thing. They've not gone OTT on it, I don't think.
And they did take the car off the 11s, like we said. Yeah, that's been done.
It'll just be nice, as much as we love Ellen Road, the surrounding areas aren't always the nicest places, so somewhere to brighten the walk up would be nice. Sorry if you live around there.
It's not only that and all. It's the stadium itself. I know we've had East Stand, touched up a few years ago, but it's due a bit of an update on outside. Inside, yeah, it's as good as any, but it needs a bit of touching up on outside, and up to press. It seems like it's been done right. So yeah.
Yeah, obviously there's that new LGBT supporters group, that thing. There's no point getting into that. It's a good thing. If you've got a real problem with it, that's on you. I wrote a thing about that on For It Altogether. My thoughts are on there. It's not really a long form discussion. It was a good thing. That's about it, really.
Doesn't matter what walk of life you're from, what sexuality you are, whatever. Yeah,
do what you want.
Your supporters.
Do what you want. No one cares.
Yeah,
just be happy.
We're all Leeds, aren't we?
Yep.
But yeah, the only other bit of interesting news is away from Leeds. Chelino's bought Brescia.
God help him. This is a club that had Roberto Baggio playing for him not that long ago. How the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, so
God help them.
It is going to make it interesting now. Suddenly all Leeds fans have got an interest in Brescia.
It'd be like when Chelino first bought Leeds and we had all these random Cagliari fans trying to form joint Cagliari Leeds United groups on social media. All right, fair enough. Yeah, you can just see it, Yeah. God help him.
By the time Peter Ridsdale was getting involved with his third club, we were all just turning around. There was us in Cardiff just like, no, stay away from this man. Just keep away. I feel that's how this is going to turn.
At least Chilino brings a bit of entertainment value to it, though. It's not just a dull prick like Peter Ridsdale, Mr. Let's blame everyone else. At least Chilino does it in a way that's funny.
Yeah, at least Chilino blames everyone else in a non-boring way.
Yeah.
Fucking dick. Right, on to upcoming football. Tomorrow night, as of recording, because I don't know if this will get out Monday night or Tuesday morning. Fulham at home. Tough game. Me and you, Connie, we picked them to win the league.
Yeah.
They've only won one game, and that was against Wycombe in Cup. They've drawn the other two.
Who were the games against? Sorry, one of them were Reading, or what other one?
They drew 1-1 with Norwich opening day. Norwich equalised late on, I remember, because I had Fulham in my bet.
Right.
So I remember that was a late one. They beat Wycombe 2-0 in Cup. And then they drew 1-1 with Reading, but Thomas Callas got sent off after about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
A last man foul. So he'll be missing. And he's a decent defender, so...
Yeah, it's a good thing, but the one that, we've got it here, Tom Kearney probably won't be there as well, causes us a lot of problems. He's made it public that his feelings towards Leeds, be it right or wrong, every time he seems to play against us, when it's been at Hull or Fulham, he's caused problems. So obviously if he's missing, that's a bonus to us as well. Callas, we've already said, comes from Chelsea on loan again for the season. He'll be a big miss for them. But, these, we're saying they've got two draws. Reading, when it playoff final last year, good team at this level. Norwich, they've got the ability to do it if they're kicked on. So, there's an argument to say that they're a couple of decent results, but they've got quality in that team, But like I say, me and you have backed them to win it. They've managed to keep all the Sessegnon. They've got Aluka, who's a solid player at this level. There's a lot of quality in that league. It's going to be a tough one.
They've a good manager as well.
Yes.
So Jokanovic is a good manager. The place where I think they're really strong actually is that I think they've got one of the best centre mids in the league in that Kevin McDonald.
Yeah.
I think he's a really good player. He's a holding player, so he don't get a lot of the credit he deserves because you don't often see him in highlights and stuff, but I think he's a really good player.
I've just seen here and all on his notes that we've got down. This is one that I totally missed. They've got Oliver Norwood there as well.
Yeah, I think they've signed him.
That's a belting signing in that league. He's played for Huddersfield. What are you, Reading? Did they get him from Reading?
I think they did, yeah, because he's ex-Scum, isn't he, as well?
Yeah, he came from Man U, yeah. He's carved out a decent career in Championship, and wherever he's been, he's done a decent job. I've totally missed that one, but yeah, that's a good signing, is that for him? And they've also got Lucas Pearce on.
Yeah, who is technically brilliant.
Yeah.
But he's one of them, he could be 4 out of 10 or 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I think we're going to struggle with this one. I don't know why. We don't have. I still think in regards of our squad, it's still not entirely settled. We're still not entirely sure what defence we're going to be lining up with yet. And I think, like you say, the quality that Fulham have, it does worry me. And we've seen a couple of signs from Wiedwald about his coming out for crosses and grabbing our own defenders, and I just worry that this is the sort of game where coming up against quality opposition where he's going to be found out maybe. I hope I'm wrong, but I do think Fulham will be a very tough game for us.
They're not that big on tossing ball into box or anything, are they? I mean,
you look at who they've got.
The one hole that I think they've got in their squad is I don't think they've got a really good proper centre forward.
No, this is what I was just going to say now.
They play Sione Aluko there, who's more of a striker/winger, isn't he? He's quick and stuff. But they haven't, because they had Chris Martin on loan last season, but they haven't got a big man.
They had Matt Smith. He's obviously moved on now to QPR. Obviously, Ross has gone. It's Piers on or Aluko, wouldn't it? You think? Yeah. Where does Floyd Ayite knocks about up there as well? Yeah. I don't think he's
another one
out
that can play out wing or play up front.
You look at him and I just think you hope that in terms of him slinging balls into the box that Janssen and Cooper will be able to deal with it quite comfortably. You'd hope if it's against likes of a Luco and Pearson, you wouldn't like to think they were going to cause them any trouble in air. You'd hope.
I'm kind of hoping his luck will continue against them, because last season they battered us twice and we drew 1-1 both times.
Yeah, if I remember rightly, the away game they scored right late on, didn't they?
They scored in
holding on.
Yeah, they scored an own goal. They actually scored twice because they had that one going off bar that didn't get given.
Yeah, and it
was
a
about
goal.
2 yards on that line. And then they scored late on, but like they definitely deserved it.
Wasn't that Tom Kennedy that scored late on?
Yeah, I think it was actually.
So he causes
as we found out from good friend Stats Andrew Dalton. Yeah, the font of all knowledge. Bless him. He's what did he say? He scored in the last 3 games against Leeds. So if he's missing, that's going to be a bonus.
Yeah, well, 2-1 draws last season. I'm gonna go. I think it'll keep going. I'm gonna go 1-1 again.
I'm gonna go for. I'm gonna be the first one to do this. I'm gonna say 1-0 Fulham.
Boo.
I'm gonna say 0-0 again. I'm going for it.
If Leeds draw two games at Ellen Road 0-0 in a row,
I just think
George Graham is back.
Great.
We'll have Martin Heeden and Gunnar Haller back in no time. It'd be brilliant. And David Robertson.
A thing to talk about with this game actually is what would you do with team? Because I'd make a couple of changes for this.
I don't know. Defensive wise, I think it is what it is at the moment. Goalkeeper, you've got to go with Eidvald at the moment. I think I would drop Wood. Roof, sorry.
Say that'd be brave.
Roof, sorry, based on what I saw on Saturday, I'd drop Roof. I wouldn't play Hernandez. I'd go with size, just to give us that little bit of summer. Alioski, I think, where he started is a shoe-in. Woods in there again, he's got to be. The two I'd go for, I'd put Vieira and O'Kane in there, just for a little bit of bite at back, to be honest.
That's what I was thinking, actually, that we need to look at either O'Kane and Vieira or O'Kane and Bridcut. I think this is the game where we're going to need that extra defensive cover. And maybe that's the game where if you play with someone like Bridcut back there, then you can keep Hernandez in the team. Because again, Hernandez is one of the players that in a game like that, if we're on the defensive for a lot of it, he's the sort of player that can come up with something from out of nowhere and create that chance or set someone up. So I would rather keep Hernandez in the team, but I would look for 2 more defensive central midfielders.
You see, I'm stuck between 2 ideas for this. Obviously, defence back, the keeper back 4, same, fine. Wood up front, Alioski right. I'd either go Dallas left, Size at attacking mid, with O'Kane, and I don't know whether I'd play Vieira or Anita. Probably Vieira if it was 2, because he's got a slightly better engine. But the other thing I was thinking of maybe doing was play Size from the left, not out and out left wing, but out on the left, Alioski on the right, and play Vieira, O'Kane and Anita in middle.
I suppose
players like a more free central mids rather than 2 holding and 1 attacking, just at least for the first hour, just because I think that they've got a really strong midfield and I think we'll need to match him.
It's an option, yeah. And we spoke about it before. It's nice that we've got the personnel in there where we can possibly switch it up in games like this where we're thinking we could be up against it.
I think doing that would release O'Kane a bit as well and give him a chance to pick out some passes going forward.
To me, the way I'd approach it, and again, it's going to be a typical centre-half approach to it, but they're a good team, but they're a small team. They're very light. I'd get in and amongst them. I'd have your likes of Casey suggested Bridcoat. I've said Vieira, the likes of them who were, snappy in tackle. I think Size has got it in him, given what we saw against Port Vale. He's got it in him to rile people. So that'd be the approach I'd take to it. Personally, I'd try getting in amongst them and try and unnerve them a little bit, try and unsettle them, knock them about a little bit, and see how that goes for them. Because as I said, they're not a big team anymore. They did have some big men a couple of years ago, like Seth Angerland and your Chris Martins and what have you, but Matt Smith.
Just a chance to reference it, that's one of my favourite football songs ever, is Bread Hangerland. Instead of Black Betty. Whoa, big Bread Hangerland, whoa. Pretty clever.
But yeah, that'd be my approach to it, getting in amongst them, getting roughed up a little bit and see how they respond to that. I think it's best way to deal with Fulham this year, because I've stick by it. I think the two draws, they've got a decent draws. And I still think they'll be up there come end.
Right, well, next weekend, the first game of the season that I'm not going to see live because I will be out of my mind drunk at the races. Sunderland away. It's a 5:30 kickoff, isn't it, this one, I think?
Yeah.
I haven't noted down the kickoff time, but I think it was 5:30.
Yeah, it's 5:30.
So, yeah, Sunderland away. Bigger game for Sunderland than it is us because they really hate us, I know, having lived up there. And it's a trip to a Larry Grayson team, so we're definitely going to score.
Last time...
Did I pick these to go up?
You did.
Yeah, you did, yeah. You went...
I think I did. Got off a decent start.
Sunderland and someone else who would at Sheffield Wednesday.
I was trying to remember it.
But yeah, they're off to a decent start in the league anyway.
3 wins out of 3, yeah. Win 1-0 against Derby, 1-0 against Bury Cup, and 3-1 win away at Norwich, which is a good
That's
result.
the standout, isn't it? That is the standout.
Lewis Grabban scored 2 and scored an own goal.
Yeah, good hat-trick.
It appears Darren Gibson having a go at all his teammates has fired him up a little bit, hasn't it?
Well, let's face it, Sunderland getting relegated, it was in offing for years, wasn't it? It became the new Aston Villa, didn't it? It were on cards, everyone knew it were inevitable, it were a matter of when, not if.
He wasn't wrong either.
Oh no, I know that it's only a friendly, but getting beat 5-0 by Celtic, who had half their team missing, was a pretty pathetic performance.
This is a team who, on paper at least, are one of the favourites to get promoted back to the Premier League. Celtic at best, at full strength, would do okay in Championship to me. I think we'd beat them on his day. Your top teams in Championship, I think I think the white flower was Celtic, and that's from a Celtic fan. But yeah, as far as Sunderland are concerned, getting back to them, they've got Grayson in there, so they've got a good manager in there. He'll get morale up. He'll get the right players in. He's proved it.
They'll try and play football as well. Yeah,
he's a footballing man. So I think Lewis Grabban's been awesome for him. But again, he's proven at this level. He's done it whenever he's been, for the most part. James Vaughan, I think, is a bit of a gamble with getting fit. He's good enough. I think the Gibson thing, in a weird way, is giving them all a kick up the arse to do what they should be doing. But again, there's always that. I think if they get a couple of defeats, is that air of doubt going to set in again that's been there for so long? Granted, it's at a lower level now, but this is another one. It's going to be a tricky one. Is this? Yeah. It's an iffy one. Is this? Yeah.
They have got some really good players. I just don't know if a lot of them will play because they're probably all off. They've still got Wabi Kazri, haven't they? And he's very hit and miss, but he's quality.
I don't know.
But if he isn't gone by the time this game happens, he'll be gone soon.
I don't know how reliable sources, but there's a couple of teams in France in Liga sniffing them.
I would expect it to go. I think that they're still playing Matt Didier and Dong.
He, out of them all, obviously there were Defoe, but he looked okay.
Yeah. They've got former football manager hero Billy Jones, who's been solid in Premier League for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
What a boy Billy Jones is.
It also makes me realise how Everton have got a lot of decent young defenders. Because we've got Pennington and they've got Tyus Browning and Brendan Galloway.
I like Brendan Galloway. He's played quite a bit, to be fair, for Everton, and he's done a good job in Premier League. It
was while Baines was out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Garbutt was out on loan, and he managed to get a lot of games on left side.
Yeah, he got a few games, and he did well. He likes to get forward as well. He's a lot like... Is he a left-sided player?
Yeah, he's left-sided, yeah.
lot like Borthwick Jackson.
There is some
His build,
similarities.
his athleticism.
Of the
and
two,
everything.
I'd have Borthwick Jackson.
Yeah, because he's got more experience at a bigger club, purely down to that, and he's got more first team experience in general. But yeah, some decent players there, and it's going to be a tough one. Definitely, I think Sunderland have, in this league and with money they've got from Premier League and the manager they've got, he knows this league inside out. I think Sunderland at home could be a tougher proposition than some people will give them credit for.
But it's
I was going to say as well, Grayson always has. His team is always a very hard-working team. If you looked at the players when he first came in at Leeds that he got rid of straight away, you saw Alan Sheehan going out, you saw Andy Robinson dropping out, players that he basically didn't want anyone in that team that wasn't putting a shift in. And he seems to have had that everywhere else he's gone as well. So you're always in for a game when you come up against a Grayson team.
Well, you look at everywhere he's been since he left us, I know he kind of continued it on a little bit at Huddersfield. They were already making strides in League One, but he did a good job there. Went to Preston, got them up, knows League One like back of his hand as well. He knows, he's one of those, like you say, he knows what he wants and he knows the players to look for to give him what he wants. And wherever he's been, he's done a good job. I know us three have had many conversations about it, saying that he was made a bit of a scapegoat, I think, at Leeds.
he should have never got sacked. It was bollocks.
Sold all his best players and replaced them with likes of Michael Brown and Danny Pugh, and expected him to kick on from a 7th place finish, but it proof wouldn't pudding. All these players that have left have gone on to play, for decent Premier League clubs. Gradle went away to France and did what he did, and it said everything. Is good manager, and I say it again, it's going to be a tougher game than I think some will give it credit for.
The thing with Sunderland is I'm still not sure you can ever predict exactly what they're going to be like.
They're a lot like Villa.
Yeah, and Leeds have got a really good record against Grayson. Especially lately, because we've beat Preston most times. We've stuck 5 past Huddersfield when we were there, didn't we? And so I'm going to be optimistic on this one. It'd be nailed on both teams to score coupon for me. I'm going to say Leeds win 3-1.
I'm going to say Leeds win 2-0. Actually, I think we're going to keep a clean sheet, but I think it's going to be a tough game, but I think we're going to do it.
I am going to go for an hard-fought 1-0 Leeds win.
I know, all of us.
I think it'll be a tough game, but if they get stuck in, hard-fought 1-0 win.
Yeah. This one will be quicker, just like it was with Port Vale, because it's... First of all,
you've got to explain this situation to everyone first.
What, you mean...
Our away game at Ellen Road.
Yeah, Leeds United travelled to play Newport County at Ellen Road, away.
Yep.
How tin pots for fucking Carabao Cup?
It's just a piss take, innit? Dude.
The draws that they couldn't figure out because they were drawing them all separately and seedings and all. Whatever, just draw them out. It's fine.
It's... End of the day, you're talking about league clubs. There shouldn't be any divisional regional.
You don't need North and South for this.
No,
they've got the JPT for that.
Yeah,
but again, it'll be a rotated team, similar to Port Vale, like Sean Seal play and stuff like that. Yeah. But at Ellen Road should be comfortable. 3-0 win.
I'm gonna go with the KC logic on this one. I'm gonna go. Against what I've said against Port Vale, I'm going to go for a 4-0 Leeds win.
I'm going to go for a goal fest here. I'm going to say 5-2.
Fair play.
The Kettering score.
Mike Grella came of age.
Look at our defence that we put together for the game against Port Vale. I do think it's not the best defence, so I can see us conceding.
Yeah. Bear in mind though, with best will in the world, I know again, I'll say it again, it were only Port Vale, no disrespect there to Port Vale, but they dropped down from League One last year, so you would expect them to be challenging in League Two this year, or at least be knocking around playoff area. Whereas Newport, they just stayed up last year.
Newport stayed up on the last day with a late goal that relegated Hartlepool.
Yeah, so.
And I'm really late as well. I think it was like 89th minute or something.
Yeah, I think, but it's a game we should be absolutely thumping them, to be honest, even though it's League Cup.
Yeah, and then Another big game. On TV again, so all 4 of his first away games. Nottingham Forest away. Right, now, me and KC predicted Forest to go down. I can't speak for KC, but I basically did it because I really don't like him. I have had a proper look at their squad, and they've lost to Sunderland, but they've got a lot of really good players for Forest.
Seems like they've actually got it right now with owners, doesn't it? They've got rid of the Al-Hassawis. Sorry. Yeah, it seems...
And they got that Greek guy that's been arrested for corruption about 6 times now.
Yeah, but it's fine. No, it's not Leeds, so it's fine. It's fit and proper. Everything's above board. It's all fine. But it looks like, yeah, they're getting their act together. And again, they're a big club. You know, I know you absolutely detest them, but...
Oh, they're a big club.
They're a big club. They're a big club, and they should, you know... I mean, they've dropped into League One a couple of times, and they should be doing a lot better than what they are, definitely. They're a lot like us. The fan base is there, the history is there. I'm not saying it gives anyone a God-given right, but should be doing a lot better than what they have been doing recently. And I think, personally, not saying they'll get in and around playoffs, but they'll be nowhere near any relegation trouble, I don't think.
Yeah, you look at the Forest team that they have, and it's very strong. I mean, my prediction was based pretty much on how they were doing last season, but they have built a decent team there, and they've got off to a decent start as well.
Better than decent. They've won 3 out of 3.
And look good.
One of them was Millwall, though.
Yeah, true. And one of them was Shrewsbury, but winning 4-3 away at Brentford are good at home. They have been for the last couple of years. That's a good result.
Yeah, so, come the end of the month, I may be wanting to revise my prediction on Forest going down, but...
Well, you won't be allowed to.
No.
I know I won't be allowed to, unfortunately, but it'd be interesting to see how long they keep this up for, whether this is just a decent start or whether they have actually got a good team now that's going to kick on and do something in this league. I still think we're going to do it. Still think we'll beat them.
I think when you look at the manager they've got in there now, they've got Mark Warburton come back down from Rangers. For me, I think he was treated like dirt, to be honest, with what he did at Brentford. He took a team like that to, almost the brink of a shot at getting in Premier League. That to Brentford, it's, it's stuff for dreams, isn't it? He did as well as he were going to ever do, I think, up at Rangers. I think Celtic are just light years ahead of him now up there. I think he did as well as he were ever going to do. He knows this league, he's done a good job, and I'm just looking now at a list of some of the players they've got in there. Your Zach Clough's quality player. You like him, Jack. I know you wanted him
when
for a
he
while.
When he was at Bolton, I banged on a lot about how Leeds should sign him.
Another one they've got an all, and I know of him through Rangers and the rivalry with my second team Celtic. Barry Mackay or Mackay.
I've always said Mackay, but I don't know.
Whichever one it is. Young winger from Rangers. Very good player. Rated high on FM as well.
Yeah,
good player.
I admittedly don't watch a lot of Scottish football. I watched the Old Firm games and I saw a couple of Rangers games when they were only thing on. I think I watched them 6 times, and 5 times Barry Mackay were Rangers' best player.
They've also got a couple of players and all who were linked with us. One heavily were linked at one stage, every transfer window. Matt Mills. I know he's kind of gone off at Boyle compared to what he was, but we're talking about 4 years ago now. He's a good player at this level. They've got Mancian, decent player.
Yeah, Michael Mancian, England squad member at one point. Michael Mancian, yeah. When he was at Hamburg, wasn't he?
Yes, I think it was Hamburg.
Another one of those players at Chelsea that comes through and then spends 5 years out on loan.
Another one and all who we were linked with briefly, Tendai Darikwa from Burnley.
Was he at Brentford before Burnley?
I think it was Chesterfield with Liam Cooper.
Yeah, because I remember we were linked to him and he went to Burnley instead.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
But, again, and also Darryl Murphy, again, proven at this level. He would have been... Yeah. He could have been a possibility.
if he wouldn't have already gone somewhere, he would have been one that once I'd have said, yeah, him on a 1 or 2 year deal.
Yeah, just to get us through, yeah. And this Jason Cummings from Ibs, I've not seen much of it, he's been in Scottish Championship.
I've only seen it in highlight form. So
I've heard good things, but you can only hear good things up to a certain level when you're talking about a team in Scottish Championship for me, even though it is Hibs.
They've got a few. I mean, they've got Carriol, who we had, who was a bit mercurial. If he has a good day, he'll be good. If he doesn't, he ain't. But they've got Ben Osborne in midfield, who's a really good midfielder. And they've got one that, I mean, a lot of them... Oh, his name's gone. That winger that they've sold to Leipzig, Scottish guy.
Burke. Oliver
Burke. His name went. Well, there was two that they rated really highly, and it was Burke and Ben Brereton.
Right,
and Ben Brereton, the bits I've seen of him, I think he looks quality. He was only on bench at weekend, but I could really see him playing. And they've got that Greek guy as well, Andreas Bachalakis, I think it is.
Boom shakalaka in my head.
Yeah, he scored twice on his debut, having been at Olympiacos. He scored twice against Brentford.
One of them was a screamer as well.
Yeah, volley from edge of box.
Yeah.
So they've got a lot of... This could be a dangerous game. And I do have to break my duck on it eventually. So I'm going to say we get beat 2-1.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that's predicted a defeat then.
I have to predict one eventually. I can't just wait for us to draw Arsenal in Cup and say we'll go down there Hart-fought 3-2. I'll end up with a predictions table like Mark Lawrenson's, where winners at leagues are on 109 points and the team that comes bottom he's got on 6.
I'm going to say it purely because this will be the game that's on when I'm on holiday, so I will be sat in a bar somewhere and I hope to Christ to win it, so I'm going to go with it and I'm going to say Leeds 2-1.
Cool.
I'm going to go with a 1-0 win.
Right, cool. So one of the things I was thinking, discount the Newport game, until, like we said last time, until you get to like the last couple of rounds, I don't really care about the League Cup.
No.
But Fulham at home, Sunderland away, Forest away. That's 3 tough games. How many points would you take from those 3 games? And be happy?
For me, I would be happy with, I'd take 5 points. If we can come away with a win and 2 draws from that, I think it'd be good going for us.
I'd snap your hand off for 5, I'll be honest, I'd take 4. I'd be okay with 4.
I think the maximum that we can look at for it
is 9, because that's how football works.
No, but realistically looking at it would be looking at, I'd say 7. But I'm with you too, I'd take 5. I'd snap your hand off for 5 points out of that lot. It's Fulham and Sunderland, they've got the ability to be up there, and given what we've seen so far, it looks like Forest are finally getting their act together. Sunderland and Forest away from home, the 3 tough games. I suppose at least we're getting them out way early. There is that. But yeah, it depends what the targets are that's been set.
Well, Radrizzani has come out and said in that long interview, which I wrote up a big piece about for threw it all together, hint hint. He says playoffs is the minimum target this season.
Well, to me, if we're looking at playoffs and we're serious about being in playoffs, I mean, I know the 3 tough games, but these, if we're serious about it, Fulham, Sunderland and Forest should be looking at us and thinking same, which I dare say they will be doing. But if he's serious about being a top 6 team, wherever that may be in there, we should be looking at 7 points. Yeah,
if we're serious about getting top 6, we shouldn't lose more than one of them.
No.
That's the key.
No.
I wouldn't take 3 points, but I would. That's why I would take 4. Because if we say we drew with Fulham at home, that's fine. But then you would have to win, and you'd have to win one of the 2 away games.
Yeah.
If we beat Fulham, then suddenly I'll feel a lot better. If we beat Fulham, I'll feel really good actually.
Yeah. I think it'll give them a bit of a lift going into that Sunderland game, and then obviously it could be like last year when we got over the rocky start and it kind of snowballed from there until it kind of derailed it towards end. But I think that's best you can hope for. It's 3 tough games there. 2, like I've said, away from home. If we're genuine though in what we say about looking at top 6, we should be looking at 7 points minimum. Not saying that's what we'll get. I'm with you too. I'd take 5 as a fan, but if they're serious about what they say, should be 7 points.
Yeah, hopefully we're going to use the Preston game as kind of a bit of a wake up for how tough this division is going to be for a couple of the players, and a bit of a wake up that yes, the target is promotion, is the playoff. Sorry, but it's not a guarantee. So hopefully it's going to help them kick on a bit with that Fulham game, because like we said, that's going to be a tough one, and I think it was good that we've had a tough game before that, like Preston, where it's going to prepare them a bit more for it than walking in with a couple of as opposed to walking in with a couple of big wins and maybe being a bit overconfident. I think it'll prepare them for it a bit more.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that's gone a bit longer than we expected.
Yeah.
But we have actually got through all the things that we wanted to talk about. So thanks very much for listening. I was very pleased to say that as numbers actually stayed up around what they were, which is good because there was way less promotion on that podcast because I've been on nights for all the time. So thanks everyone for listening. It really does mean a lot to us. You can find us on Twitter at Mighty Whites Pod. I'm at Jack Robshaw LUFC. KC's at Chris2 Lawley. Connie again doesn't really use Twitter, and he'll be fucking off on holiday, so he cares even less. Podcast is recorded at the Don Bennison Recording Studio. That's at Don Bennison on Twitter. We're at MightyWhitesPodcast.com. You can see us writing on the blog Through It All Together on SB Nation. They're on Twitter at THRU It All LUFC. Is there anything else that I need to plug? Can't really remember.
I think you've covered it.
Right, cool. Thanks very much for listening, and hopefully we're coming back and being wrong because we've won all those games and we're top at league. So thanks a lot. Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Come on, boys, we're better than this. Better than this. Better than this. Better than this.